Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Rachel Dahl. Today on the show we have Hammond, who's the Economic Development Officer in Winnemucca for the Humboldt Development Authority, on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Liberal D.C. spending is making life in Nevada painfully expensive.
It's a killer, it really is. Groceries, everything.
I have no choice, I gotta get gas one way or another.
Not only gas prices, everything is going up.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto joined fellow D.C. liberals voting for trillions in government spending, causing inflation and higher costs, making it harder for Nevadans to get by. Tell Senator Cortez Masto to stop voting for reckless spending and start fighting inflation.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Good morning. Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Rachel Dahl, in for Sam Shad. We're here this morning with Hammond, who is with the Humboldt Development Authority.
Correct.
Which I did Fallon, so we had a bunch of acronyms, and so we'll do the Economic Development ABC.
Right, exactly.
Michelle's also part of the Nevada 9580 Regional Development Authority, which works with the Governor's Office on Economic Development, and she works with Heidi Lusby down in Pershing County quite a bit.
Yes, correct.
And you're brand new at the Humboldt Development Authority.
Yeah, new like a shiny penny new.
That's awesome. But not new to Winnemucca.
Oh no, not new to Winnemucca. I'm actually a fifth generation Humboldt County native.
Right on.
So my family's been around for a while, and I previously worked at the Winnemucca Convention and Visitors Authority as the marketing and sales coordinator. So I was there for 15 years, so I come with a little bit of background in Winnemucca and the promotion of the area.
The community. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So talk about economic development and what you do in a rural county when you're focusing on economic development.
I think the focus in our rural areas is community capacity building for the most part. We want to draw new businesses in, but in order to do that, we have to have the infrastructure to house people. You know, we need roads and utilities and all of those great things. So it's about community capacity building and community engagement. I believe in synergy.
Yeah.
And community synergy in the rural areas, I think, is very strong, very strong.
Yeah, and getting community buy-in when you have a big project coming. So you're really kind of building a foundation in your community.
Exactly.
So when a project comes in, that's exciting.
Yeah, so when a project comes in, the community feels comfortable and the community can get behind it and back it.
Perfect.
That's important.
And I suppose there is some trust, a level of trust because you've been there.
Yes.
And that's always helpful.
Those connections, and I hope my community in particular trusts that, you know, I'll do the research, I'll find the facts, I'll bring, you know, direct, straightforward information to them, And people in my community know that about me.
Right.
So I think, yeah, that trust does develop over time, and that's
Yeah, it
something I
helps a
could
lot.
bring to the table.
That's good.
Yeah.
When we think of Winnemucca, I think a lot of us think mining,
Of course.
ranching. So talk about your community and the industry that's already there.
So the industry that's already there, like you mentioned, very strong ag background in Winnemucca, in Humboldt County, farming, ranching. That's where I come from.
Okay.
So my family was a ranching family that settled in the area in 1848.
Wow.
So I have a long history of ranching, and actually, as far as agriculture goes, that's what I pursued my education in. So my
Okay.
graduate degree is in agriculture.
Wow, that's really exciting.
So Winnemucca Farms is one of the biggest producers in the state of Nevada, and I believe has the biggest amount of land under irrigation.
Wow.
And so that's a huge industry for us. And mining.
Yeah.
Mining in Nevada is huge. You know, mining encompasses about 20 to 25% of employment in Humboldt County. So
Right.
yes, mining is very huge.
So we talked about the salmon farm with Heidi a little bit, but so is your agriculture underground water or surface water?
Both.
Oh, okay. So you guys are really unique because you have that capacity. Okay. All right. So the salmon farm, how's that affecting you, and will it have an effect on your community?
Oh yes, it's a huge effect for Humboldt County. It's merely like steps over the county
Right.
line into Pershing County.
Right.
So we're expecting to take on a lot of the housing for that
Yeah.
project. And we're right there with Heidi working with West Coast Salmon as they develop their project and bring people in, and where are we
Yeah.
going to put them? You know, that's always the question. And housing is one of our biggest things right now in both
Okay.
communities is building our housing up.
So is that's something that you work on? How is your housing inventory in Winnemucca right now?
It's low
Yeah.
for what we need. I think I was reading earlier this week, and mind you, it's just starting the job. There's a lot of research and kind of pulling all that data and the facts.
Right.
But I believe it was in 2014, Nevada Rural Housing did a study where they projected by 2020 we would need 150 apartment rental units.
Right.
And I think that we've only maybe a third of that.
Yeah.
And that was prior to West Coast
This
Salmon.
kind of growth.
Yes, prior to Lithium Nevada's plans. You know, that was 2014 before we knew of those two major projects. So we're low on that level as far as apartment units, rental units. But it's a challenge too because of our mining community. The median income is really high. And so most of those projects require institutional financing. And so in order to secure that, they get back to the data, right? And so our median looks really high
Right.
because of the
the
mining
mine.
industry. But it doesn't account for, you know, the rest of the population that's in the service
Right.
industry and
And
your
the
middle income.
And there's some transient nature of those mining jobs too, in and out, and
There
boom
is
and
some.
bust.
You know, I see that more in our contract workers that they bring in
Oh,
to do
yeah.
specific jobs at the mines.
Okay.
You know, they can stay anywhere from 2 weeks to months and rotate in and out. And they take up a lot of our like motel, hotel inventory, RV inventory.
Right.
That isn't traditionally used, you know, for those long stints. And in Winnemucca and in Humboldt County, it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Which
you
then impacts, because you guys have
Right?
a pretty, I would say, a pretty robust tourist setup with your
Right,
event
right.
center. So then you've got long-term rentals with the mining industry impacting your ability to
Exactly.
provide tourism
Exactly.
spots.
So in my previous job as the marketing and sales coordinator over at the convention center, I worked directly with special events coming into the community.
Right.
And we would have to work with property owners and businesses and try to coordinate some of that. You know, when they knew that we had a big rodeo coming in, for example, our Winnemucca Ranch Hand Rodeo Weekend is one of the
Yeah.
biggest of the year. Motels, hotels are full. And so they tend to try to avoid that week as far as bringing in contract labor to do
Okay.
jobs. And so there's a lot of, you know, just being generally aware of what's going on.
Right.
We just finished hosting SSIR, Silver
Yeah.
State International Rodeo. That's
Right.
another big big rodeo in the community. And although many of those contestants stay out at our fairgrounds, they are frequenting the restaurants and the stores, and so it fills up the town.
And those are rodeo kids that come from all over the country, Canada, into Winnemucca for the weekend. It's exciting, but it takes somebody like you to kind of work the behind the scenes,
exactly, coordinating. And we have an excellent staff at the Winnemucca Events Complex. And over the years, the county and the boards, the Winnemucca Convention and Visitors Authority, has helped really grow that facility as far as RV spaces and stall spaces. And actually during 2020, you know, when so many things were shut down, that SSIR rodeo, we still made that happen for those kids.
That's neat.
And so, yeah, it really takes the community coming together to make things like that work, though.
That's neat, and I love seeing that in a rural community. You touched on lithium. So talk about that mine at Thacker Pass. Tell us all about that and where it's at. Is it still hung up in the courts?
You know, my understanding is that they've passed through all their court cases now. They're really projecting being able to move forward by the end of the year and into next year. So we're excited for them in that regard. They're opening a technical institute in conjunction with UNR here next week in Reno. And so that's exciting for them. Lithium Nevada, I've really seen in talking to them their desire to give back to the community and also increase like workforce development and things like that. And so it's really neat to see those partnerships blossoming. You know, not only with UNR, but I know they have some workforce development stuff in the works with Great Basin College.
Oh, good.
And
that's
so,
exciting. Cool.
Lots of exciting things going on.
We'll take a little break and we'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers with Michelle talking about Humboldt economic development.
Liberal D.C. spending is making life in Nevada painfully expensive.
It's a killer. It really is. Groceries, everything.
I have no choice. I gotta get gas one way or another.
Not only gas prices, everything is going up.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto joined fellow D.C. liberals voting for trillions in government spending, causing inflation and higher costs, making it harder for Nevadans to get by. Tell Senator Cortez Masto to stop voting for reckless spending and start fighting inflation.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
We're back on Nevada Newsmakers with Michelle Hammond Allen, who is runs the Humboldt Development Authority up in Winnemucca, works on economic development. And we left off talking about Lithium Nevada. So tell us a little bit about that mine. It's located in Humboldt County.
Yes.
And a good company.
Yeah, the people have been fantastic. And for me, it comes down to that, right? The people and the relationships and what they're willing to do for your community. And so good people, good company. I'm happy to have them in Humboldt County.
It's a really cool piece of the Nevada landscape, I think.
Oh, it is.
The role that lithium is going to play and has played.
Right.
It's really interesting.
Well, as everyone knows, Nevada is such a hot spot for resources. And with all our wide open spaces and then getting back to like just the rural areas, you know, we have the space and we have the drive to make things happen. And the lithium project is an example of that.
That's cool. So what other projects do you have going on in Humboldt County right now?
Well, that's a big one, West Coast Salmon. That's taking up a lot of time. So we're working, like I said, really hard on housing and workforce development. Those are big things right now. We also have a company looking at possibly putting in an RV adventure park.
Oh, really?
And so that's a different thing, and it serves both purposes, right? It's something new to town, but it's also providing some housing.
Desperately needed.
So they were looking at making sure they had, you know, so many long-term housing units along with their short-term.
So what is an RV adventure park?
It's kind of a staycation type thing, which is exciting. You know, you come in, you bring your RV, and their plans to develop the piece of property that they have include like a fishing pond and, you know, BMX bike trails and ATV trails and hiking trails. And so the idea is that on your, you know, journey across I-80, this is a fun place to stop with the family.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's kind of an exciting thing.
Yeah. So you guys have a campus, community college campus, Great Basin.
That is exciting too. Okay,
yeah,
so
talk about
the dynamics there.
Well, you can't do economic development in a rural community without your community college.
Right.
And it's such an interesting thing in Nevada with the university system. Right. So I really kind of explain what that is for your community.
Okay, so you picked another one of my favorite topics because prior to working at the Convention Center, I worked for Great Basin College.
Okay. All right.
I also received my bachelor's degree at Great Basin College.
Did you really?
In Winnemucca, Nevada.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was able to complete that degree in my hometown, raising my children.
Right.
And that's where I wanted
not have to run to Reno for classes.
Yes.
Oh, that's
and
exciting.
so it was amazing for me to have that opportunity and work for the college. I loved working for higher ed in our state. That's a whole nother dynamic, and another strength, I think, of Nevada is our college system, our university and college system. It's just, and she has done a great job of, you know, building those gaps.
Right.
Again, back to workforce development, but also between the colleges.
Right.
So I
because
think they do
Great Basin works with Western quite a bit.
Right. Well, indirectly with the universities. You know, they have they transfer classes, and so it's worked really well, I think, for the state. Yeah, the whole system.
And then does Great Basin, when like you talked about the Lithium Nevada doing workforce development, and I know like Western has always had this capacity to kind of put together a workforce development plan. So
Isn't that awesome? Just the ability. Becky Coleman is our director there at the campus in Winnemucca, and she's been instrumental in having those discussions with not only Lithium Nevada, but West Coast Salmon. And what can we bring into the college to help you?
Right.
And they're looking at some instrumentation programs that are necessary to train workforce. But they're also looking, as far as West Coast Salmon goes, at fish biology. And how could they integrate that into the college? You know, and so just being open-minded, you know, it's that problem solving that happens in a small town, in a rural town. And
this is Nevada Newsmakers.
Bring all these people to the table, and they're willing to listen and figure it out.
It's cool because it's not so much bureaucry.
Right.
You have the ability to be a little more flexible.
Right.
And then that really is a benefit to the community.
Right. And they just had a ribbon cutting a few weeks back for their new CTE building.
Oh,
Absolutely beautiful facility.
Talk about that.
And so it's a combo facility. So they have an electrical program and a nursing program that are going to be housed there. And they're offshoots off of the Elko campus. There are programs that have already been occurring in Winnemucca.
Okay.
And so now they have this beautiful building for their class space that is
awesome.
just, it's beautiful.
Nice. And those kinds of resources in a rural community are invaluable.
Exactly.
That facility is there and
right. And people, again, can stay in their hometown where they choose to raise their families and receive their education and contribute back to our local workforce.
That's awesome.
Because what Great Basin College has shown is that people want to stay in these communities, so let them get their education here, and they'll turn around and these are your school teachers, you know, these are your nurses. these are your mine workers. And
that's great.
Yeah, they were able to stay here and do that. And
that's
so
really cool. And then you have another thing to show off when folks come and you're showing the community.
Right.
That's neat. All right, I think we'll take another little break and we'll be back with Michelle Hammond Allen on Nevada Newsmakers.
The Do It Right guys at Nevada Heating have one mission. Your air conditioner breaks down today. We fix it today. Why sweat for days while your air is down when Nevada Heating can get the job done today and you can get cool again? For nearly 50 years, locally owned Nevada Heating has been getting the job done right. Call today at 323-5585 or see us online at nevadaheating.com.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years.
Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
We're back on Nevada Newsmakers with Michelle Hammond Allen, who does economic development up in Winnemucca, and we're talking about the relationship between cities and counties in our rural communities, because you end up a lot of times with a county with one community in it, or maybe a couple smaller ones, and that's always a trick, it seems. How a city and a county work together, but it sounds like things go well in Humboldt County.
Oh, things go so well in Humboldt County in the city of Winnemucca. We have such a great relationship. There's cost sharing. My position is a cost share between the city and the county, with a combination of, the Governor's Office of Economic Development supporting, of course. But there's so many things like that in our community. We talked earlier about the Winnemucca Events Complex.
Right.
That's another great example of how we work together there in Winnemucca. The Winnemucca Convention and Visitors Authority has contributed so much to the growth of that facility.
Right.
The city's contributed to that as well, as far as infrastructure and helping, get utilities where they need to be. So there's a lot of synergy going on in Winnemucca between the two different governmental entities.
It's fun to watch when that works together so well, because you're able to do so many, you leverage each other's resources to make things happen.
No, exactly, and we're there to help one another. And so you literally walk across the street and you can address a problem.
Right.
And the friendly, that friendly atmosphere. Winnemucca is known to be the friendliest town in the state of Nevada, and we're right at that crossroads. So it's not just hospitality, though. It's business friendly.
Right.
And that means a lot when companies are trying to get something kick-started. They can go in and they know what they have to do at the city level and the county level is going to mesh. Those people work together well and they get things done.
That's neat. Mm-hmm. And how do you work with the surrounding communities? Because you're an hour from Battle Mountain, an hour from Lovelock.
I think we have a great relationship. Obviously, Pershing County and Humboldt County, the city of Lovelock and the city of Winnemucca, have joined together in the Nevada 9580 Regional Development Authority.
Right.
And the reason that came together is because they're not only like-minded, but we have similar interests in what we're doing, our similar strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
You know, we're both working on housing. These big projects that are coming in, we have a lot in common with West Coast salmon. Plus, I think in rural Nevada in general, people have to join forces to make things happen, and we're used to doing that. We're innovative and we work well together.
Yeah, we shop in each other's communities.
We do.
We live in each other's communities.
Oh, I remember being a little girl and we'd come down to Reno for visits or shopping, and it was always, let's stop in Lovelock and have lunch, or the same thing, going to Elko. We stopped in Elko at the Owl Club to have lunch.
That's awesome.
You know, so yeah, community support is important across the state.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we finish, I read last week that your newspapers have been combined. What's the news situation?
Well, it's not necessarily a new situation because it was all under the same publishing company, but they've combined the newspaper to the Great Basin Sun.
Okay.
Which is great because it pulls those resources together instead of trying to do separate papers for each of the communities.
Right.
Battle Mountain, Winnemucca, and Lovelock are going to be covered in this Great Basin Sun.
Together, which kind of goes with what you're doing.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Right. That's exciting. Well, thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It's always good to learn about our collective communities.
Well, and I love talking about Winnemucca and Humboldt counties, so.
It shows. Thank you. All right. Thanks for joining us today on Nevada Newsmakers.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue. Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
Thank you for joining us on Nevada Newsmakers. You can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day on nevadanewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.